Hi everyone. Those of you who have got advent calendars will probably be munching your way through each day as we count down to Christmas with one of those chockies behind the little doors. However, the church traditionally marks each week of the advent period with a specific theme. The first week centers around hope, while the focus this week is on faith. Now, faith's one of those words that tends to be used rather loosely. In the same way that we use the word love to describe our feelings towards a whole array of things, ranging from the latest pop song to our dog to the chocolates in our advent calendar, faith is used to describe things like a religious grouping or someone's integrity. We speak about acting in good faith, or persevering in our support for someone. We call that keeping the faith, or even as someone's name. Today, though, I'd like to put forward the idea of faith of having two elements, one of hope and one of action. Faith as an act of hope comes from the beginning of Paul's letter to the Hebrews, which describes faith as confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. However, faith can never be passive. It requires action. In the Epistle of James, the author questions the value of inactive faith by asking this question. He says, "What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save them?" Simply talking about faith is not enough. Take integrity, for instance. How do we know if someone is acting in good faith? Well, by their actions, of course. By doing the right thing, regardless of whether anyone is watching, and doing so even if the result would be less favorable than if they cut corners. James illustrates faith in action through a very practical example. He says, suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, "Go in peace, keep warm and well fed," but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. Many of us may well be planning to attend a worship service this Christmas, whether in person or online, but that in itself is not what faith is about. In fact, going to church on Christmas Day will no more make one a person of faith than spending time sitting in their garage will turn them into a car. A seminary professor once told a group of us that people who are employed may get a lunch hour, but they don't get paid for that hour. They're only paid for the hours that they actually work. He likened this to all the things that we associate with church. Worship services, Bible studies and so forth. All of these things are like lunch hours. And while lunch hours may be necessary to recharge our batteries, the real work takes place outside of these times. Christmas may well be a time when we celebrate the coming of Jesus as a baby, lying there in the manger, seemingly passive to the world around him. However, his purpose in coming was far greater than that. At the start of his earthly ministry, he stood up in the synagogue and, quoting the prophet Isaiah, he said, "God has sent me to preach good news to the poor, to proclaim release to the prisoners and recovery of sight to the blind, to liberate the oppressed, and to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." He then went out doing exactly that in a very tangible, practical way. This year, which we all know has been a tough one, we look forward to a Christmas that will restore a bit of joy into our lives. In fact, we place great faith in the possibility that celebrations will make this a reality in our lives, bring about some sense of normality. Yet the day itself is just like a lunch hour. Necessary, but unless we translate this expression of faith into action, the message of Christmas will end up being lost and forgotten once the tinsel is taken down and the tree is packed away for another year. This year, let us show our faith in the enduring message of Christmas by making a difference in the lives of others through our actions. How you do that is up to you. How others see the evidence of your faith is also up to you.